In this video, we're going to look at the rise and fall of ancient civilizations and where they settled around the world. So you should have already put together your note sheet, whether you did it in class with your teacher yesterday or whether you did it by watching the previous video and putting your pieces and your construction paper together to make your one big note sheet. So the first thing that we want to talk about is the fact that the common feature among all civilizations or all ancient civilizations is that the majority of them developed around a fertile river valley. And so you should have already talked about in class what these fertile river valleys provided these civilizations. They provided them three things: protection, transportation, and most importantly, fertile soil. So in the middle of your map you should have, or in the middle of your note sheet, you should have a world map that looks like this. Okay, and you see all these lines coming in, and you'll eventually put these lines on your note sheet, and so this will show you exactly where we're talking about in the world and for ancient civilizations. So the first place that we're going to talk about are the Fertile Crescent empires, and they develop right around here, and this is where the Fertile Crescent is. And so this is a closer view of the Fertile Crescent. And so you see all of this green fertile area, and that labels the Fertile Crescent. So you see that we have Egypt going up through the Middle East. This is where Phoenicia will develop, okay, into Mesopotamia. And so the Fertile Crescent is a large band of fertile land in the midst of the deserts and mountains. And so those deserts and mountains offer them good protection. And so this is where the world's first civilizations developed. Mesopotamia. Here's a map of Mesopotamia. So again, you can relate this back to the map that we just looked at. Okay, this is Mesopotamia. It's also known as the land between two rivers. You see how you have the Tigris River and the Euphrates River. And these two rivers provide a lot of fertile soil for this area. And you also see over here that you have mountains and you have the desert. Okay, and so they offer protection from invaders. So this is the ideal location for civilizations to develop in the ancient world. As you can see, Mesopotamia means the land between two rivers. So Mesopotamia is located between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. These rivers flooded unpredictably. And the key with these rivers flooding unpredictably is that the people did not know when it was going to happen. So there was not a set time of the year that this would happen. And so this would cause several things to possibly take place. The people didn't know when the rivers were going to flood, and they planted their crops. Then, with the rivers would flood, then that would destroy their crops, and they would lose their food for the year. It's not like today where you can go to Food Line or the grocery store and get food. In order to get food during ancient times, you had to grow it. If the rivers flooded and wiped out your crops, you had no food. And so what is fertile land good for? Well, fertile land is good for growing crops. So when these rivers flooded, they did deposit fertile soil along the riverbanks, and this provided a lot of good land for these civilizations to grow their crops. And we just answered why might unpredictable flooding be a problem. Civilizations that rise and fall within Mesopotamia were Sumer, the Akkadians, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, the Chaldeans, and the Persians. I'm going to take a closer look at the Assyrians. The Assyrians developed within Mesopotamia and the Fertile Crescent, and they developed along the northern edge of Mesopotamia. Now, they also have the advantage of the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers depositing a lot of fertile soil, but they also have a very good climate. They're originally from northern Mesopotamia, but because of their location and their climate, they were frequently invaded. And this causes Assyria to focus more on their military, and because they were tired of getting invaded, they don't want to lose their land, and so they focus on the military to defend themselves. And because of this, they are able to develop a strong military, and after they are invaded, they are then able to turn that military, instead of being defensive, okay, they turn it to offensive, and they go out and they conquer pretty much all of Mesopotamia, parts of Asia Minor, which is modern-day Turkey, and Egypt. Phoenicia. Phoenicia also develops along the Fertile Crescent, but it develops along the western edge of the Fertile Crescent. Now, it doesn't have a major river, but what it does have is very good climate, a lot of resources, and they develop right along the banks of the Mediterranean Sea. And so, as you can see, they have a lot of different resources, and because they develop along the Mediterranean Sea, they become very good sailors. So Phoenicia was located on the western end of the Fertile Crescent, right up next to the Mediterranean Sea. And this causes them to turn to trade. They don't have that major fertile river, and so instead of being able to grow crops, they have to turn to trade in order to survive. So due to its location on the Mediterranean Sea, it emerged as a major trading center. They become expert traders and sellers. The next place we're going to look at is Persia. Persia develops right around here in modern-day Iran, and eventually expands to take over all the Fertile Crescent and Egypt, and they try and go in and conquer Greece. And so, as you can see, this is the Persian Empire at its greatest extent. So you can see in the green, this is all the area that they took over. So they developed right around here, which is modern-day Iran. Okay, you see this is the Fertile Crescent, this area right here. So you can see how they took over all that, even farther into northern Africa, took over Asia Minor, which again, this is modern-day Turkey, and then they even tried to invade Greece, but the Greeks were able to hold them off. So Persia is located in was located in modern-day Iran. It formed around fertile river valleys and expanded due to trade. So not only did they have fertile river valleys good for agriculture, but they were also able to expand because of trade. So they had pretty much the best of both worlds and became very successful because of it. Cyrus the Great founded the Persian Empire in 539 BCE, or before the Common Era. Now in this next video, we will go on and we will talk about the rest of the ancient civilizations.